KA Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Denny Carlin will start at pole position with Lightning McQueen to his outside. Row 2 has the 2008 Piston Cup champion Cal Weathers and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Row 3 has two-time Piston Cup champion Jeff Gorvette and Bobby Swift to his outside. Row 4 has Tony Gasworth and Jimmy Cables to his outside, looking for his first win. Row 5 has Kyle Bushtire, the mean yellow car, and Greg People. Row 6 has Brick Yardley, the 2008 Florida 500 winner, and Ryan Newcar. Row 7 has Phil Tankson and Kevin Carvick, who is currently second in points. Row 8 has Kurt Bushtire and Moray Clutchburn, who has made over 900 consecutive starts. Row 9 has Carl Edwards and Casey Corner to his outside. Hopefully he doesn't crash. Row 10 has Mark Curtin and Brad Karslowski, who's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. Row 11 has Clint Bokar and Martin Karks Jr., hoping to end his winless streak. Row 12 has Ernie Gearson, who's been in this competition for a really long time, and Jamie McCarry. Row 13 is Joey Logierno and Jeff Burnton, who jumps over cars. Row 14 is Matt Karzeth, the 2003 Piston Cup champion, and Juan Pablo Montoya. Row 15 is Brian Vickars, who's won one race, and Mike Yankee Jr., who has also won one race. Row 16 is Jay Corner for some reason, and Todd Marcus to his outside. Row 17 is Rex Reveler and Brick Hicks to his outside. Row 18 has Jack DePost and Reb Meeker, who already has a top 5. Row 19 has Dirksen DeAugustino, his second start this season, and Chip Gearings to his outside. Row 20 has Speedy Comet and TG Castlenut. Row 21 has Buck Beeringley and David Rudikar, who hopes not to DNQ again. And starting in 43rd is surprisingly Ace Arrowhead, the number 832. And these 11 cars, among many others, failed to qualify for this race. At least one of them was the mean green car. Denny Carlin would lead for the first 5 laps of the race before he'd lose the lead to Lightning McQueen. He'd lead until lap 10, where Ernie Gearson is out because he retired from the race due to fatigue. It's only lap 10, Ernie! Cal Weathers would take the lead after the restart and lead for 22 laps before Kurt Bushtire would take the lead from him. He'd lead until lap 37, but then Kyle Bushtire, his younger brother, would be 11th as of lap 36 when he wrecks Ryan Newcar, who goes airborne! Why? Jack DePost would take the lead on lap 37 and lead until lap 41, where surprisingly, Jay Corner would take the lead, leading until lap 48, where Greg People would take the lead from him. He'd lead until lap 54, where of course, Lightning McQueen would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 3 laps, but unfortunately, Dirksen DeAugustino is out on lap 57 because of an engine failure. Jeff Gorvette would take the lead after the restart, leading for 3 laps before Jimmy Cables would take the lead for himself, leading for 4 laps. Wait a second. The mean green car, Check X, will be suspended for 10 races on lap 65 for interference. Phil Tankson would take the lead on lap 65 and lead for 8 laps before Carl Edwards would take the lead for himself, leading until lap 77, where Reb Meeker would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 2 laps, but Jeff Burnton would jump over cars on lap 79. How? On lap 79, Lightning McQueen would also take the lead, leading for 2 laps before Dale Earnhardt Jr. would take the lead from him. On lap 86, Lightning McQueen would retake the lead, leading all the way until lap 98, where Jimmy Cables would take the lead from him, leading until lap 107, but 2 laps earlier. Speedy Comet would accidentally wreck himself, Jamie McCarry, and TG Castlenut. Mike Yankee Jr. would take the lead on lap 107, leading for just 1 lap before Bobby Swift would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 3 laps before Kevin Carvick would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 6 laps before Jay Corner would be back in the lead, leading for half a lap before Denny Carlin would retake the lead, leading for 3 laps before Kyle Bushtire would be 7th as of lap 120, where he wrecks Jimmy Cables! Right! And Jimmy Cables really thought that he could win! Right, Kyle Busch Tire! Lightning McQueen would take the lead after the restart, but then, very soon after, Denny Carlin would retake the lead, leading until lap 127, where Lightning McQueen would retake the lead. He'd lead for 3 laps before Kyle Busch Tire would take the lead from himself, leading until lap 138. And then Tony Gasworth would push him into the wall, taking the lead from Kyle Busch Tire, leading until lap 146, where Greg People would retake the lead. He'd lead until lap 151. Matt Karseth was in second, and Jack Rush is complaining that Matt Karseth cannot take the lead. And then Joey Logierno would wreck himself out while trying to wreck other cars on lap 151. Brick Hicks would take the lead after the restart, leading until lap 159, where Tony Gasworth would take the lead for himself, leading for 10 laps. Lightning McQueen would retake the lead on lap 169, leading all the way until lap 182. Kyle Busch Tire would be 16th as of lap 179, where he wrecks Jeff Corvette. Right! And then Kyle Busch Tire says that Jeff Corvette's an old car! But Jeff Corvette's crew chief, John Lasseter, comes to his defense. Moray Clutchburn, another older racer, would take the lead, leading until lap 183, where Bobby Swift would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 8 laps before Todd Marcus would take the lead from him, leading until lap 194, where Phil Tankson would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 4 laps before Kurt Busch Tire would once again shove Phil Tankson to take the lead, leading for 11 laps. Cal Weathers would take the lead for himself, leading until lap 230. Casey Corner would be out on lap 227 because of engine failure. Dale Earnhardt Jr. would retake the lead on lap 230, leading for 10 laps before Bobby Swift would retake the lead, leading for 29 laps before Mike Yankee Jr. would retake the lead, leading for 5 laps. Jeff Burnton would jump over cars on lap 274. How? And Reb Meeker was who got jumped over, and he said that that was really dangerous. And Kurt Busch Tire said that, Kurt Busch Tire, don't say that word! And he takes the lead on lap 275, leading until lap 298. Kyle Busch Tire, his younger brother, would be 7th as of lap 281. When he wrecks Mike Yankee Jr. Why? Lightning McQueen would take the lead on lap 298, leading until lap 314, where Denny Carlin would retake the lead from himself, leading for 3 laps before Cal Weathers would retake the lead, leading until lap 324. On lap 324, Bobby Swift would retake the lead, leading for 4 laps before, surprisingly, Jay Corner would once again take the lead, leading until lap 333, where Kyle Busch Tire would once again take the lead. He'd lead until lap 349, but then Brick Yardley would be out on lap 335 because of engine failure. Todd Marcus would pass Kyle Busch Tire for the lead on lap 349, leading for 30 laps before Ace Arrowhead would be 28th as of lap 379, where he wrecks Kyle Busch Tire and Chip Gearings. Why and hooray! But here is what Ace Arrowhead says, and Daryl Cartrip is quick to point out that it wasn't Chip Gearings that he was supposed to wreck. Moray Clutchburn would take the lead after the restart, leading for 14 laps before Todd Marcus would take the lead for himself, taking the white flag, but Bobby Swift would pass him on turn 4 and take the lead, and he'd go on to win the 2010 New York 400. Todd Marcus would finish 2nd this race, and he'd only lose by 2 feet! That's 24 inches! Cal Weathers would finish 3rd, Carl Edwards would finish 4th, and Clint Bokar would round out the top 5. And here is the photo finish, with Cal Weathers right behind Todd Marcus and Bobby Swift only 2 feet ahead. And here is the top 20 of the race, with Moray Clutchburn finishing 6th. And somehow, Jay Corner would beat Lightning McQueen in a points-paying race. And Kevin Carvick would finish 18th. And here's the rest of the results, with Denny Carlin finishing 21st. And Buck Beeringley is the last car to finish on the lead lap, finishing 29th, and Ace Arrowhead would finish 27th. look at all of these cars that got wrecked out. And also, it wasn't one big crash. And now, here is the top 20 in points, where Matt Karzif is 5th in points, despite the fact he has not yet led a lap this season. And Denny Carlin's inconsistency brings him down to 7th. Yes, behind Matt Karzif, who has not led a lap. And Jimmy Cables falls out of the top 10 because of his crash.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
How is Lightning McQueen over 300 points ahead of Kevin Karvik? That's 300 points ahead of his competition in only 1/4 of the season. How? And also, Matt Karzif is still yet to lead a lap in the 2010 Piston Cup season. He did lead laps in 2009. After all, he won the first 2 races. And the next race of the 2010 Piston Cup season will be coming out very soon. What should be happening very soon is the end of the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Ukrainian people have had enough of war. They just want to live in peace and have freedom. It's been over 100 days since this invasion has started. I've posted 14 YouTube videos since then. That's a long time. And who stands in the way of this ideal of peace and freedom for the Ukrainians? The tyrant Vladimir Putin is standing in that way. We have to continue to stand with Ukraine until this happens. But Vladimir Putin won't stop. He continues to launch this ruthless invasion. And also, his own soldiers don't want to fight in this war. They are deserting. And also, he's going to wreck the Russian economy because of sanctions. Vladimir Putin, is this what you want for your country? I don't think you want to economically cripple it and have your own soldiers deserting. That's a pretty good sign that this war is not going your way. And it will not go your way. On the hashtag KBullets YouTube channel, we are in firm support of standing with Ukraine. And also, Vladimir Putin, here's something that's not going your way. You're literally calling up a retired general to fight in this war. And Vladimir Putin, there is no room for your tyranny. Why do you want to take more land from Ukraine? You already have enough of your own. And thusly, we continue to stand with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini! Heroyam Slava!